Welcome back. Just 3 days old, the 18th Lok Sabha is set to script history tomorrow, although not a feat our parliamentarians should be particularly proud of. At 11 a.m., the Lok Sabha is set to elect its new speaker, and the two men you'll just see on your screens are the two contenders for the chair. Om Birla, the outgoing speaker, looks to be the first man ever to have 2 terms in the chair after his name was selected by the ruling NDA. His rival is the man who many believe should have been the pro tem speaker, given that he's the longest serving MP in the House, Congress's K Suresh, being propped up by the India bloc. These are the two men, ladies and gentlemen. Now, in terms of pure numbers, the verdict is very clear. The NDA, after all, enjoys a clear majority, and with the support of the YSRCP, it has a total strength of at least 297 MPs, far more than the opposition's 223. That's how the numbers are stacked. So you know what is going to happen tomorrow. But my own belief is this is the opposition bloc trying to make a point. But do remember that tomorrow's election means much more than just a simple numbers game. That's because this is just the 3rd time in India's parliamentary history that we will require an election for the post of speaker. That's because parliamentary parampara has always dictated that the speaker, an MP who's supposed to rise above party lines, is elected unanimously. That has been the tradition. The only times we have required an election are in 1952, after the first election, and then in 1976, during the days of the emergency. So, how did we reach this breakthrough in the Treasury and opposition relations? Well, it started when the India bloc reminded the government of another tradition, that of offering the Deputy Speaker's post to the opposition. When the government stayed firm on deciding the speaker first, the India bloc decided to make the government's life difficult and to contest Om Birla's candidature. After all, the opposition is not placing its faith on a government which has already circumvented protocol by selecting its own nominee as a pro tem speaker. Before we get into our debate, there are 2 data points that we'd like to place before you for some perspective. First of all, yes, the Modi government has bucked a long-standing tradition of offering the Deputy Speaker's position to the opposition, one that continued up to the UPA years. In his first term, Modi appointed an MP from his ally, the AIADMK, as a Deputy Speaker. In his second term, Prime Minister Modi, the post of Deputy Speaker was vacant for 5 years, a constitutional mandate which was never fulfilled. But here's the flip side. On your screens now is a list of 9 states where the India bloc is in power, whether it be under the Congress, the DMK, the Aam Aadmi Party or the TMC. In all these states, the post of the Deputy Speaker is with the ruling party, or it has been kept vacant. So, when the opposition has not kept the spirit of bipartisanship alive in the states, why does it expect to be handed that out in the centre? Simply put, is the ruling party's prerogative to appoint a speaker and deputy speaker more important than parampara? And more importantly, if our new Lok Sabha MPs can't come to a consensus over something as simple as this, can we really expect them to work together and put the nation first for the next 5 years? Let me introduce my guest to you this evening. Tushar Gupta is a political analyst. Professor Jyotsna is spokesperson of the TDP. Subhashini Yadav is spokesperson of the Congress Party. And Faizan Kidwai is spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time here. Can I start by asking you this, Faizan Kidwai?
Yeah.
Why force an election when it comes to the post of speaker? The government has said very clearly, let's stick to parampara. Parampara tells us, tradition tells us, that the speaker needs to be chosen unanimously. The opposition has to back the speaker as well. Yes, you want the deputy speaker's post. We'll talk about that later. Abhi ye to kar lijiye. Why do you not trust the government? Why are you forcing a vote upon parliament tomorrow?
See, what has the government done to gain the opposition party's trust or the trust of the people of India at large? See, we said we will support Mr. Om Birla for the speaker's post. Just give us the deputy speaker. Despite the fact we all know how Mr. Om Birla had been functioning throughout the past 5 years. We all know how unethically he has been functioning. It's because of Mr. Om Birla that it was because of Mr. Om Birla that 150 MPs were suspended. It was because of Mr. Om Birla that the farm bill, which was converted into a money bill, it was done by him and it was passed. Majority of the times, the benches of the opposition were seen vacant while the bills for the government were passed. This is not in order, in accordance with the norms of the Constitution. And despite the fact, we said we don't want any kind of a rift, we don't want any kind of an argument for no reason. Just give us the deputy speaker's position and we will support you for the speaker's post. That's all. But the government, the kind of dictatorial attitude Mr. Narendra Modi has, he's not willing to cooperate. See, gone are the days of Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. I was reading an article somewhere that he used to ask his people to go and meet the opposition members in the community hall. But it's not something what Mr. Narendra Modi promotes. Narendra Modi doesn't want a dialogue to continue between the opposition and his own party members. This is the way Narendra Modi wants to function. He has a typical RSS approach, which says one leader, one idea, and he's not open to discussion with the opposition party members. And we all know what Narendra Modi is all about. So there's no reason for the opposition to trust Mr. Modi.
Tushar, it's all very well to say that the India bloc is being obstructionist, but the fact also is that the government is being obstinate. What was the opposition saying? The opposition is saying we understand the parampara when it comes to the speaker's post. Okay. We will go with the speaker that you have chosen, but give us the deputy speaker's post. Are they asking for the moon? No, they are not asking for the moon. The opposition has come back strong. They are well within their rights to demand the deputy speaker's post. Why not simply say yes and let the matter lie? It's the government that has escalated this entire showdown.
Absolutely, Shreya, you're spot on. You know, it's very well within the right of the opposition to say that they want to have the deputy speaker's post in the Lok Sabha. There has been the tradition also, at least since 1969. Between 1952 and 69, when Nehru was the prime minister, it wasn't followed. But yeah, largely it's been the tradition. The UPA 1 and 2 also honored it. But then the BJP is also well within its right to refuse it. At the end, you know, I'll be very politically incorrect here. I don't have to hold any high office. I can be very frank with you, Shreya. After a decade, when the opposition has been opposing everything for the sake of it, you know, all this talk about consensus building and taking everyone along, I mean, it's good theory. But when it comes to practical implementation, there are challenges. Now, the opposition since 4th of June has been claiming that the people have been given the mandate, the BJP has been suffering a defeat and whatnot. Now they have to face a numbers test. It's that simple. All the noise apart, all the no's and yes apart, the BJP being whatever, the Congress being whatever, all of it, beyond all of it, it's now purely a numbers game. Can Om Birla get the numbers or will K Suresh get the numbers? And consequently, who will get the numbers for the deputy speaker position? This is the reality we have to live with, that the 18th Lok Sabha will only be about who has the number game stronger. And at this point, it's the NDA. What surprised me more, however, was that while the Congress alliance made a pitch for K Suresh, they did not take their alliance partners along. And what surprised me even further was that the YSRCP, with its 4 Lok Sabha MPs, wanted to back the BJP on the choice of Om Birla. So I think it was a day when the alliances that were supposed to work did not work out. And the ones that were not expected to work, especially after what we've seen in Andhra Pradesh at the state level, they have worked out. So purely from a numbers perspective, NDA is going to get it. And to answer your question, couldn't the BJP had said yes and let the matter, you know, just be solved? I think they were well within their right to refuse also, and that's what they've gone for. It's that simple.
So, you know, you say that all this talk about consensus building is all very well in theory. It can never be implemented, given how contentious India's politics is. Arey bhai, all this talk about consensus, it's the Prime Minister of this country who did yesterday. So yesterday the Prime Minister speaks about consensus. He says, I have a majority, but I want to run India with consensus, etc. And today, when it comes to the post of the deputy speaker, the BJP says nothing doing. कौन सा consensus? छोड़ो सब. आप ये भी तो देखो ना, ये तो this is double standards playing out. That you say one thing, but you refuse to walk the talk. हाँ.
No, ये बात सही है आपकी कि डबल स्टैंडर्ड्स है, पर वो भी तो ऑपोजिशन से ही सीखा है ना. ऑपोजिशन ने 2019 और 24 के बीच में उन्हीं बिल्स को अपोज किया जो उनके मैनिफेस्टो में थे. No. But Shreya, let's be very kind. It's not like the opposition has also negotiated in the good faith. The BJP is giving back the opposition a medicine that they only have been serving to everyone for the last 10 years. Today we are talking about why the BJP can't be generous. Okay. My question is, why couldn't the Congress be generous for the last 10 years? Today, if they want the deputy speaker position, they should say that we really want it, come out in the public. They should stop talking about conventions or traditions or history. They should be very clear that we're expecting the BJP to be charitable, even though they have the numbers, and that's all. They're not doing that.
No, they have said it. They have come and said it. We made this offer to the government. Speaker yours, deputy speakers us. But the government refuses to say anything. Therefore, we are forcing an election, which is not unprecedented, but it has not happened too many times in the past. Professor Jyotsna, you're a spokesperson of the TDP. Now, there are questions that I, of course, wanted to ask the spokesperson of the Congress party, who for some reason has still not joined us on the show. Anyhow, we'll just let that be for the moment. Professor Jyotsna, were you a little surprised that the YSR CP2 has decided to back the BJP for the post of Speaker, to back the NDA for the post of Speaker?
Good evening, everyone on the show. And I mean, probably this is not something that is new with YSRCP because they have done it earlier also, because they have a lot of other pending issues for them. So, and again, this is something that's a news, but it has to be, it has not been confirmed yet. So we have to wait for the confirmation from both the sides. Let me tell you that very clearly. And one thing, I think I really don't understand a point here. So because I was following the entire proceeding since yesterday. First thing is we have members taking oath there. So I think we have to have a minimum, response to them. But when members were taking oath, the members from the opposition were actually giving slogans. They were shouting. And these are the same people who are handing constitution books in their hands. They are having the books about the constitution in their hands. And they are shouting. They are not allowing the members to take oath. A member who's been elected by the people of India, by the people of a particular parliament constituency, they are not allowing that member to take oath. So, I mean, what kind of a respect have they got for the constitution is my first question. Second question, as I said earlier, with regard to YSRCP, the confirmation is still awaited. I don't know about that. I have to be very clear when I say that. And now, when it comes to the speaker and deputy speaker, all these roles, I don't really understand one more thing here. They have a problem with the pro tem speaker. They have a problem with the speaker. I mean, if your demand is not met, you just shout slogans in the Lok Sabha. That's what you do in the House. That's what you do. Your demand is not met. You
no,
are
Professor Jyotsna, then what else is the opposition supposed to do? Sit quietly like a good child in class and listen to everything that the government says.
Not while, no. I think we
then what is the point of having an opposition? The government deviated from tradition when it comes to the pro tem speaker. The longest serving MP in the Lok Sabha is usually the pro tem speaker. In this case, that tradition was discarded. Now, if the opposition is saying we'll discard with tradition of building a consensus as far as the speaker is concerned, why blame the opposition?
No, I'm not blaming. I'm telling you that if they truly have a problem with that, they do not probably should be shouting in the Sabha. Why would they do that? When somebody is taking oath, you do that. And now they don't have a problem when Asaduddin Owaisi says, Jai Palestine, they don't have a problem with that. They don't have a problem with that. They have a problem with an MP taking oath in the Assembly, in the Lok Sabha. I think this heights of hypocrisy there.
Okay.
I'm sorry. This is something that we have to understand.
Okay.
You object to a particular thing, I say yes.
Okay.
You say that yes, deputy speaker, the pro tem speaker, there has been no consensus on it. There is a point of discussion. I accept that, Sneha, but not on certain terms, right? When I said you have a problem, probably you can talk about it, but not when somebody is taking. Yesterday was the first day.
So let's get
on the day when vote taking was happening. You shouted Sabha.
But you have not answered the question I asked you on the speaker and the deputy speaker.
Yes.
is this a crisis that has been forced upon Parliament because the government is being obstinate? But Kamru Zaman, there are being questions raised about people within the India bloc itself. You're representing the Congress party. Fact is that your own allies, the TMC is saying we were not consulted. Sharad Pawar is saying हमें तो पता ही नहीं था. तो आप ये देख लीजिए. I mean, your own allies are not backing you. The YSRCP is not backing you either.
No. Shreya, first and foremost, before coming to your question, let me just inform you that 2019 Lok Sabha did not have a deputy speaker. And this time, the Congress party in particular has been able to expose the government because Narendra Modi ji wanted to have an 18th Lok Sabha without a deputy speaker. That's why the Congress party and all the other like-minded parties of the India bloc made a demand of the government that you first decide on the deputy speaker because it is mandated in the constitution to have a deputy speaker. So it's better that we all agree on the deputy speaker's post, give it to the opposition, and then we'll support Om Birla ji as the speaker. But the government with its arrogant behavior has refused to accede to this request, simple request of the opposition. Now coming back to your main question, why all the opposition parties are not on the same footing as the Congress party? That's a very legitimate question, Shreya. But the point here is that we have seen what happened to Biju Janata Dal. We have seen what happened to YSR. During the 17th Lok Sabha, all these parties were towing the line of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and look now where. They are reduced to the dustbins in their own state's political history right now. This will also happen to those political parties like the TMC if they do not smell the coffee right now and see that we as a nation, if we need to progress, we need to toe the line of the entire opposition living beside minor differences that might have been there in
all
deciding
that is very
who can
well,
be the deputy speaker.
But there's a bit of... Okay, but here's the thing, Mr. Kamru Zaman, there's a bit of hypocrisy in what the India bloc is saying right now. Fact is, and we'll just put those numbers out on our screens as well, there are 9 states where the India bloc is in power, whether it's under the Congress, the DMK, AAP or TMC. In all these states, sir, the post of deputy speaker is either with the ruling party or has been kept vacant.
So Shreya,
you're talking about parampara. What is the parampara being followed in states ruled by the India bloc itself?
Shreya, I will not want to digress this debate to go to the state level. This is a question of the world's largest democracy, the representatives of the people house, that is the largest in this world. We should be setting standards on the Lok Sabha itself. And moreover, if their deputy speaker's posts are not occupied in the states, then there should have been objection that we are raising right now here. Why was the BJP silent in the states itself? This is not the case as simple as you are pointing out. The case is, as I told you earlier, they wanted an 18 Lok Sabha without a deputy speaker so that 150 MPs can be expelled, bills can be passed with 1 minute of discussion, of finance bills can be passed without any discussion. This is the nature of a government which hardly believes in consensus. The Prime Minister will speak outside the Parliament in one language and he will speak in another language through his floor leaders in a different language. The hypocrisy of the Narendra Modi government as well as this government is totally exposed. We, as a united opposition, we will not go down without a fight. It is a day-to-day battle to expose the government.
All that is very great. And there are some fights that are worth fighting, even if you know if you're going to lose. There are some fights which are so grand that they are worth fighting, even if you know you're going to lose. The fact, as Tushar Gupta pointed out in the beginning of the show, is that, well, the India bloc simply doesn't have the numbers. So, kal election ho jaye, speaker ka, but it is Om Birla who is going to be India's next speaker. That is how it has to be. When it comes to the deputy speaker, the fact is that the battle lines have already been drawn, and we know that there is probably there is probably going to be a contest for the post of the deputy speaker as well, one which the India bloc will lose given the fact that it doesn't have the numbers. I'm completely out of time, but who wanted 10 seconds? I can give them 10 seconds. Mr. Chaudhary, did you want 10 seconds?
Yes. Just a reminder to the nation through your show tonight, we brought in the no confidence motion last year, not to win the no confidence motion. But the government's refusal to discuss the trending issues before the country, we know it was a losing battle. But that was the only way that we could have highlighted the problems before the country in front of a deaf and dumb government we had. And hopefully 18th Lok Sabha is not going to be a 17th Lok Sabha, that I can assure you.
Of course not, given the numbers as they are stacked up right now. So we are expecting things to be much more contentious. We are expecting much more fireworks. But by the end of it, if it's good for India's democracy, we'll be good with it. Tushar Gupta, thank you very much. Professor Jyotsna, thank you very much. Kamruddin Chaudhary, thank you very much. And Faizan Kidwai, thank you very much for your time here on Mirror Now.